everybody, welcome back to the channel and more Birthright coverage as we work our way through more of the Anshai. Today we're taking a look at the Seadrake, yet another one of these massive sea monsters that we've had a few of already, going back to the Kraken and so on. So let's jump right in. This isn't an overly long one, but still a nasty creature. I was a merchant and my wife and daughter had the best things my profits could afford. I loved them more than anything else, and everything I did was for them. That's why I risked my life sailing the Straits of Arel. I made my trade carrying goods and passengers, and it was profitable for years. My luck ran out the day a green-cloaked passenger booked passage with his weight in gold. He spoke very little, and always in a whisper. I was suspicious, but the gold clouded my reason. We embarked in early afternoon with full sails unfurled and good weather. Unfortunately, we were caught in a furious storm. The strange passenger lost his hood, and we saw him in his full-scaled ugliness. He attacked a woman who screamed in terror, and a battle began. Many of my crew fell to the creature before I crept behind the creature and stabbed it with a harpoon. The beast cursed my name and my family as its dark ichor stained my deck. I was cursed by the diabolic beast, and I soon took on its characteristics. In desperation, I tried to drown myself, but I found I could breathe water as easily as air. Now, I'm cursed to live my life here in the Straits of Arel. To this day, I don't know why it was so important for the scaled man to gain passage to Mirez. Still, the time for stories is done, and you owe me 200 gold pieces for safe passage. So, about 600 years ago, while the Rolls still ruled Anweir, Geraliane Soulier, an Anweiran merchant, sailed the Straits of Arel, selling grains and steel and fabrics to Miran merchants. In return, he came home with gold, spices, and silk. He and his family lived well off the profits, but he was ever greedy for more. On his trips, he sometimes supplemented his cargo with passengers who wished to visit the other side of the straits. One mysterious, cloaked passenger in particular paid his weight in gold, proved to be his undoing. That trip and passenger irrevocably changed Geraliane's life. A storm came up and the wind blew the passenger's cloak from his face. He was scaled and horned, a horrible lizard creature that slaughtered the crew members where they stood. Though Geraliane was only a mediocre fighter, he couldn't stand by and let his crew die. Summoning his paltry courage, he crept up behind the beast and drove a harpoon through its back. The beast did perish, cursing Geraliane all the while. Now, whether it was the curse or the slaying of the creature that awoke his blood abilities, he gradually took on the beast's scales over the next few years. Soon he could no longer show his face in public and did his business through intermediaries and couriers. His appearance continued to worsen until at last he slipped into the sea in an attempt to drown himself. However, he found that immersion in water didn't kill him. Instead, the salt water of the straits sped up his transformation and he swiftly became a sea serpent. The years have seen the creature become larger and more powerful. Despite the fact that he isn't evil, his evolution does continue. The Seadrake's current appearance is basically that of a 50-foot-long serpent with a large fan-like crest adorning his back. He is mottled green and blue, and he blends easily with the turbulent waters of the straits. Fangs fill the Seadrake's mouth, and he moves powerfully through the waters with great speeds. He is no longer even remotely human, except for his morals and his ability to speak. Sailors of the Straits speak of the Seadrake as he, not it. So unlike the other two, this one is really sentient and has some sort of intelligence still. The Seadrake can breathe either water or air with no difficulty, but he has difficulty moving on land. He has in the past pursued enemies onto shore, but he prefers the water where he can maneuver. Although he's little use for it, he still collects treasure, taking it from the captives of vessels that still navigate the Straits of Arel. He's terrorized merchant ships for the last 500 years. After the first few years, rumors rendered the brave weak. Few now dare to deny him the treasure he seeks. He doesn't take life when it can be avoided, so it's an Anshai with something of a conscience. He kills only in self-defense or when he attacks pirate ships that disrupt his tribute. Apparently, he feels some obligation to earn the money he takes from the traders. So let's jump into the stats for this thing. So intelligence, still average, right? 10. So it's not a beast. Always active, omnivore, neutral. So again, not evil. Important to point out, not evil. Very fast swimming speed, obviously a little bit slower on land, but 50 feet in length. Massive armor class too, so again, old armor system here. So really like an armor of 20 with 100 HP to boot. Considering saving as a 15th level fighter for all intents and purposes. Thaco doesn't exist anymore, but has one bite, which will very much hurt, or with 2 flukes. The bite attack is 3d10, so could be low, but also could be pretty damn nasty in one go. The flukes, no slouch for damage there either, 2d8 apiece. Has the ability to crush people and swallow them, of course, but also Ink Cloud and regenerates. No magic resistance. Pretty high morale if you were still using that. Very good, actually surprisingly high Azrai bloodline strength. But has blood form, major regen, and regen. So very hard to bring this thing down. You might fight it off and think, oh, well, it's probably going to go die. We've dealt with some mortal blows, but should be something like a sort of almost like a horror movie, right? The monster just somehow keeps coming back. 14,000 XP for actually taking it out. But again, to point out, it is not truly evil. Ship captains rarely resist giving their tribute to the Seadrake since he is quite well equipped to destroy their small ships. His bites cause 3d10 points of damage with those razor-sharp teeth. He can also make a crushing attack with the flukes of his tail, each causing 2d8 points of damage. Breakable objects with a victim must save versus crushing blow when hit by either attack or be shattered. The Seadrake has grown to sufficient size where he can swallow man-sized enemies. If attacking with his bite, basically on a 19 or 20, natural 19 or 20, he just swallows people whole. The victim then takes an extra d20 points of damage from its teeth. When a victim enters the gullet, he has d6 rounds to cut his way free by causing 20 points of damage to armor class 5, so in this case armor 15, before he drowns and is consumed by the stomach. Only small slashing and piercing weapons can be used inside the creature to cut a way out. There's no room for larger weapons, and bludgeoning doesn't do anything. Now, he can wrap his length around a ship that's smaller than 20 feet across and crush it by tightening the coil. If the wood of the ship can't save versus crushing blow, the hull is just pulverized, the ship sinks into the ocean, taking about d4 plus 2 rounds to submerge. Now, if the Seadrake chooses to remain wrapped around a foundering ship, the hulk sinks at the end of the round as the Seadrake's huge weight obviously just is immediately going to drag it down. Now, if his life is in serious jeopardy, he can emit an ink cloud from under his flukes to escape. It acts basically as a darkness spell with a 50-foot radius underwater, and this protection is ineffective above or on land. Now, he does regenerate. Here's the tough part, right? If you're fighting him, just first of all causing damage and not getting just battered about or swallowed from a bite attack, but he regenerates 2 hit points per round. If a wound is exposed to air for more than 3 rounds, it must heal normally. If reduced to negative 10 hit points, so not just 0, but negative 10, he dies. Now, he does patrol the Straits of Arel, so we've seen a lot of monsters here recently, more on the eastern side of Annuir, or not Annuir, but Australia. But here we're going back to more where Annuir is located. And he actually mainly just eats sharks and whales. If these aren't available, he can eat plankton or seaweed just as easily. Now, he does have a grotto under Bergos Isle, where he drags the tribute left by sailors eager to avoid his wrath. At the time, he's accumulated over 50 gold bars worth of treasure in that grotto, a huge sum. Few brave souls have stolen from this grotto, planning carefully to enter when the Seadrake is away. This is a chancy venture, for he keeps no set schedule and might return at any instant, so he's not habitual. Despite a generally pacifistic nature, he will kill anyone he finds tampering with his treasure. Though he has no use for it, he still enjoys its presence. Some suggest that he collects treasure to remind him of his former humanity. And again, amongst that treasure, maybe we should find some magic items and stuff as well, just to entice, players to want to go and loot from that. Prospective travelers on the Straits are warned. Though he can be bargained with, he always demands tribute and is angered if denied it. There has never been a recorded case of someone escaping from the Seadrake by promising to return later with gold. Though he is greedy, he's not stupid. No one escapes an encounter with the Seadrake with purse intact. So something to, of course, consider if travel is required from Cerelia to Mires or any other parts crossing that strait there. Realistically, should be an encounter, and players should be made aware of this. And if they're booking passage on a ship, they should be made aware of that up front, maybe be charged a higher fee. But again, should be plenty of rumors for anybody adventuring down in the coastal areas there about that massive treasure. But especially if players are running a domain, maybe at some point the Seadrake's activities are just disrupting your sea trade routes and it's becoming a problem. Maybe it's just something that finally needs to be dealt with, but could be would need to be a careful infiltration. But certainly would be a nasty encounter. Now, getting to the isle and finding his treasure is one thing, but then also again escaping is another. So that could be a creative venture there. But again, players, would likely be surprised by the creature. There's no, again, set schedule for it, so really it could appear at any point. But that could be something where if the players really do want to get creative, maybe try luring it consistently to some other location with other ships to keep it occupied, and then again just kind of sneaking onto the little isle there, looting all the treasure and making away, hopefully while the Seadrake is still occupied. But of course it's going to discover that at some point and probably go on a huge rampage. But fighting it would be a nasty enterprise nonetheless. Now, if you can, I think, lure it onto land a little bit, that's probably going to be a better way, so it can't quite maneuver as well. But really, if it feels like it's losing, it can just try to slip back in the water and regenerate. So that's something, again, where it should be sort of like almost a recurring monster. Players maybe have some success against it and think, oh, well, we've dealt it so many wounds, it's probably just going to go off and die somewhere. But really, just it comes back stronger and nastier than before. But in all things, again, worth again pointing out that it is actually neutral. It is not evil in and of itself. It's just a greedy monster, basically. So let us know, guys, if you've incorporated the Seadrake in any of your encounters there in the southern coasts, how that's gone for you, and what did that look like in your campaigns. Hit us up in the comments there as well. Now, and also, if you want to see videos like this early, hit us up on our Patreon. You can see videos for Birthright and other D&D content, other minis and stuff, usually about a week earlier, and we got some exclusive things on there as well. So it also helps support the channel, helps make sure we can always track down all these old modules and accessories and stuff for these campaign settings. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and we'll see you in the next one.